This is the final week of My Little Pony month, and even though that the season 9 premiere is gonna come out a week after Spring Breakdown, I'll still review it nonetheless when it premieres, just so I can get everyone occupied for what I feel about season 9 as a whole. Well, of the start of season 9 is what I mean. Now, for this video, this is going to be something different, and I don't think that anyone who ever thought that would ever make a video involving My Little Pony. The themes of seasons in My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. As of now, there have been 8 seasons and another coming in April 6th of 2019. And while I might understand what the theme of the 9th season is, which I might get to at the end of this video, I need to discuss about the themes of the other 8 seasons, because each season had some kind of a theme, and they probably need to and they probably have a gimmick of what they want to do for the characters in each season. Believe me, a lot has changed when the show continued. I mean, at the beginning of the show, it was mostly about ponies and some species being mixed in, but then later on, we know about these characters and want to learn more about those species. But that's besides the point. The point is that I want to talk about what the gimmicks of what season has in this show, because I think they probably had a theme of what they're doing per season. Because between season 5 and 4, the Hub channel was completely over, and Discovery Family became a thing once Rainbow Rocks came out. And what I mean by that is that Rainbow Rocks was the first My Little Pony thing to premiere on Discovery Family. I just can't believe a lot has changed throughout this entire decade when it comes to My Little Pony. Anyway, let's begin this video. These are the theme seasons of My Little Pony. Season 1, Fitting in Friendships. Considering that this premiered in 2010, people usually don't know what to expect from the show. I know there were some people who became fans immediately, and I do think that there were bronies back in 2010, but at the same time, it was a really small community that it's really difficult to take it seriously. Now in season 2, I'll get to that soon. But as for the very first season of My Little Pony, this is mainly the fact that Twilight Sparkle's just trying to fit in of what friendship is really like, because she really didn't have any experiences whatsoever ever since that she's been reading books for herself and trying to study about magic. When she came to Ponyville, a lot has changed. Even though that she really didn't like friendships at first, she tried her best to fit in with so many people. This Twilight Sparkle was completely different before she became a princess. She's basically an ordinary unicorn who completely enjoys magic and books. But when she completely went to Ponyville, my god, she really didn't know how to fit in with friendship whatsoever. And that's kind of the theme of season 1. She didn't know how to fit in with other relationships with other characters, so that's why we got some development from other characters like Rarity, Rainbow Dash, and other characters. And we also get to learn more about they want to be and want to do in order to succeed their goal. And to make things really interesting, they really want to make us know what the ponies are going to do, unlike in the other past generations, when it's really not much of a serious idea that ponies would become some kind of a phenomenon in this situation. Like, trying to teach, like, Twilight Sparkle writing her friendship lessons to Princess Celestia. A thing that has been happening at the beginning of the show and completely faded away in season 4 and onwards. If it did happen in season 4, that is. I just really think that seeing the first season, while it wasn't as really good as the other seasons when it continued, it's understandable since this was the first season that they ever did. You always have to start somewhere. I think that people really enjoy is the additional characters like Princess Luna, which is starting to become more of a fan favorite. Believe me, the fan favorites of Princess Luna is so huge you won't believe it. And the fact that the first premiere was a really good start to the entire show. And as for the season 1 finale, it really isn't much more serious. With the first season, these characters didn't experience anything dangerous or tough. Sure, they handled the dark nightmare moon, but at the same time, it was just the first time they have ever did, and they didn't know what to handle it. This is probably explains that Twilight Sparkle couldn't able to fit in much about friendship. Even if this is the first season and this is the 26th episode, she still has a lot to learn about friendship, and this was just only the beginning that she completely writes notes to Princess Celestia about her friendship lessons. As for most of the episodes, it's mainly the struggle the characters are going through, like finding what Royalty needs to find the perfect dress for her friends, and also the fact that Applejack needs some help because she's extremely tired from getting all the apples in the apple woods. Believe me, this is why I completely enjoy Season 1, because it shows the slow development of each character. While it isn't understandable considering the fact that this show continued, but at the same time you need to understand what these characters are going through. Say you want about Season 1, but this is the season where it all began about friendship is magic. Season 2, Further Expectations. It's weird to think about Season 2 because, in my opinion, the second season of a popular show is when the brony community grows much stronger. As you can tell by some of the videos that people have reacted to so many great moments from My Little Pony. And it's really difficult to see that Season 2 is starting to get way more better than the first season. And that's saying a lot. Now, what I mean by further expectations is that the characters are going through some friendship relationships, but also sibling relationships, kind of like sisterhood social, and the fact that they're experiencing new villains like Queen Chrysalis and Discord. They're going through really serious situations and more tougher challenges to overcome. And Rainbow Dash really wanted to become a member of the Wonderbolts, but it's a really difficult task to handle. And not only that, they tried to handle the friendship thing around against their enemies like Discord because of his word of completely making the entire world completely out of control on the reverse is what he wanted to do. And the fact that everyone wanted to make everyone completely happy during Hearthwarming Eve or any of that kind of stuff. When you completely talk about further expectations, you talk about what the characters are going to get themselves into, like Spike's determination to be something that he really belongs, even though that really isn't the case. But at the same time, you really want to see what he can do in order to further his experiences with his own species other than ponies. Even though that it won't totally work for this case, considering the fact that he really is more like one of his best friends, but at the same time you can understand the struggle that he's getting himself into. Same goes to Princess Luna. She really didn't know how to handle a Halloween-based pony thing by completely doing a lot of shouting, but at the same time she really wants to show everyone that she is a respectful princess, kind of like Princess Celestia. But she has a lot to learn since it's been a long time since she became Nightmare Moon. Believe me, when you've been Nightmare Moon for a long time, you will still have the same situations that you had before with other ponies. And that's kind of great that Princess Luna got so much praise from this episode. As for the season 2 finale, it's something that you actually expect of what's going to happen in future seasons. With Princess Cadence, the real Princess Cadence, marrying Shining Armor, which is Twilight's brother, you can tell that there's going to be a great expectations of what they're going to do in Season 3. And believe me, Season 3, while short, has a lot of great moments that people either love or hate. And it's also the fact that characters like Twilight is struggling that she couldn't find a friendship lesson for one day. Seriously, it's like she's afraid that Princess Celestia is expecting expectations, but at the same time, she's in a situation that she couldn't find any expectations for Princess Celestia. But at the same time, if you watch the episode, you can understand that Twilight doesn't need to write a friendship lesson all the time, which also discusses that the fact that there isn't going to be any more friendship lessons for Princess Celestia in later seasons. So I really think that the second season is when the Born community has become so strong at this point. They completely improved, and this was before Equestria Girls became a thing. I know Equestria Girls isn't part of the category, and so is the My Little Pony movie, but I'm just mentioning that My Little Pony was its own thing and the only focus that Hasbro did during the time in the earlier seasons. Season 3, the next step of challenges. When it comes to challenges, you really expect the other characters to go through really difficult and hardship challenges in order to save the kingdoms. With this is the first time we ever get to see the Crystal Empire, and it really shows. I really got a feeling that what they did for Twilight's character by trying to pass something for for a test from Princess Celestia, you actually expect her to do great things. And even though Season 3 is the only season that has 13 episodes, 13 episodes is probably where they put the more focus. Even though probably the other 13 episodes probably went to making the Equestria Girls movie, but I digress. Even though there are some episodes that reveal that helping so many things that are going on at one time isn't a good idea, mainly the Too Many Pinkie Pie episode, I really think that what they did for this season is probably the most development that they did, since this is the final season that has Unicorn Twilight and then becoming an Alicorn, but I'll get to that later. I really think that the next step of challenges is that the Apple family, for example, want to completely enjoy the fact that they're trying to get along as a family, even though that Apple family reunion is probably an episode where they couldn't get along because they didn't have the time to, probably hang out in much, but towards the end, they pretty much got along easily. Besides, a lot has changed. And when it comes to other characters going through a lot of situations, like Pinkie trying to help so many friends at one time, you know that there's going to be a lot going on when it comes to expecting the new challenges when it comes to friendship, like doing everything at once at one time. And another thing I need to mention is that the new challenges that we expect is the return of Trixie. Even though that Ghostbusters wasn't really much of a good episode from Season 1, this episode completely improves Trixie's character. And the fact that Twilight Sparkle needs to overcome her amulet that she's wearing around her neck. You can tell that it's a really difficult task for Twilight to handle something really powerful, but at the same time she had to make a plan in order to completely reverse the power that Trixie had around her neck. Seriously, this is one of the stuffs that I actually completely enjoy when it comes to Twilight overcoming some serious situations. Even though that people may disagree with me, you need to understand that Twilight Sparkle has experiencing more magic when it comes to each season. And it's really difficult to see that she can able to overcome Trixie's powerful amulet around her neck. And as for Rainbow Dash, she tries her best to becoming a Wonderbird in Season 3. And along with her used-to-be friend Lightning Dust, she wants to do the right thing, but at the same time, it's really difficult for her to actually do the right thing because it's a really difficult task of becoming a Wonderbird. What makes this thing interesting is that this is literally the middle of Rainbow Dash's task into becoming a Wonderbird. This is the third season, so you actually expect her to do a lot more things in the later seasons when it comes to becoming a Wonderbird. Season 3 now let's get into Twilight Sparkle being an Alicorn. Now, I can understand that Twilight Sparkle being an Alicorn is something that, even though I wasn't part of the argument back then, I can understand the hate that people really have with this because it was way, way, way too early for Twilight to be an Alicorn. And it's really difficult that she actually did attacks of trying to fix everyone else's Q mark back to the way it was. If you see Pinkie Pie wearing Applejack's cutie mark. But at the same time, I really didn't mind it. For me, they pretty much didn't know what to do with Twilight when she became a unicorn, in the earlier seasons. I mean, they do know how to do it when it comes to friendship, but towards the end of Season 3, they really didn't know what they can do with Twilight's character, so they had to give her an Alicorn abilities and ways in order to understand what she can do as a princess. Although that may cause me to have so many issues with the Equestria Girls, but then again, I digress. Season 3, while a really short season, is a really interesting season to see what Twilight and her friends are trying to accomplish for the new challenges when it comes to the future. Believe me, they really want to do everything that they can to make themselves look really great, but also try to make their lives really good at the same time. When Applejack's family trying to get themselves back together, or Rainbow just trying her best to become a Wonderbot. It's one of those dreams that became challenges when you continue on your life. And that is what I have for Season 3. Up next is the 4th and final season of the half hour of Friendship is Magic, is what many people have say. Season 4, The Rainbow Connection. Throughout this entire season, we get to see the Rainbow Connections from Fluttershy, Applejack, Rainbow Dash, Pinkie Pie, and Rarity. Since they need to find objects in order to open the chest that is in the Tree of Harmony, which is the first time they ever see the Tree of Harmony in this. And in my opinion, this season is probably the most development that we ever get to see from the other seasons. Mainly the fact that since that Princess Twilight is officially a princess and have Alicorn wings, she has two experiences of what a princess is like in order to help the situations that she's getting themselves into. Since this took way longer for the gap between Season 3's finale and the Season 4's premiere, a lot has happened during the time when she became an Alicorn, and things really get way more difficult when it comes to handling friendship lessons. And as for the other characters, I think the Rainbow Connections really fit for the entire season, since they're just trying to show what they can have the abilities in order to become heroes in Equestria. But at the same time, they need to handle some really difficult tasks. Mainly the fact that most of the villains that they're going to encounter are going to be way difficult than before. And not only that, I really think that this season, while it may be kind of a disappointment to see characters like Twilight getting reduced into an Alicorn situation, because I can tell that people are really starting to make a lot of jokes on that, which is really getting old at this point. I really think that this is probably a way to show what Princess Twilight is capable of as a princess. Just keep this in mind, that she really has some really difficult hardships in order to overcome when it comes to being a princess. Since that she lost her home in the Season 4 finale, she gets a castle after completely saving Equestria. A reason why this is called Twilight's Kingdom, when she completely saved everyone from Chaylock, if I completely spelled that right. And not only that, she really has the abilities to control the magic inside of her, unlike other characters who have been corrupted by magic. Another reasons why Twilight completely, even though that she's completely ashamed of missing her own home and completely is okay living in the castle, you really need to understand that she has so much development and so much challenges that she overcome. And I think that the 4th season of the Rainbow Connection really is really understandable to see of what she's going through when it comes to her best friends and idols. Believe me, Season 4 is probably the most important season to show what these characters can do and what they have accomplished in this season. While it is kind of understandable that some people have mixed opinions, people said that the 4th season finale is probably the favorite finale out of all the seasons. Mainly the fact that they can do really serious things and probably see the true meaning of honesty, laughter, etc. Believe me, I really completely enjoy this idea of seeing what the true meaning of the elements really are, since we're going to see the original elements in the 7th season. Overall, I really think that this 4th season is pretty much a huge development of all the characters, and it's also the final season of this era. And here comes the next hour of, Well, a lot has changed. Believe me, a lot has changed. Season 5, the next era of friendship. As I mentioned, the Hub channel is completely discontinued in 2004, just before Rainbow Rocks has premiered, which is going to be the new channel called Discovery Family. As much as people are really disappointed, it's really not much of a big deal because it really didn't affect Friendship is Magic as a whole. All it did is just give Friendship Magic a completely different schedule. It's been 11 months since we got an episode from Friendship is Magic. From the gap between Season 4 and Season 4 finale and the Season 5 premiere, it was 11 months. Really difficult to see it took this long to get an episode from My Little Pony. But I would say that the 5th season is when everything completely changes. Not because of the schedule that they have, but also the new additional characters of what they completely have in this. And that is, Starlight Glimmer. Apparently, I think that they pretty much accomplished everything of what Twilight Sparkle did in the show, so they had to have, another Starlight Glimmer, another Twilight Sparkle who's kind of like Twilight Sparkle, but at the same time have different goals in her mind. Which would have been okay, but at the same time, it's really, I did review the 5th season finale, but that was in 2016. Well, I was new at the time and I didn't know what to think about reviewing episodes. But that's for a different story. I will say that for this, I think introducing a new character is only just to further proof that they probably need to do more for the show. I did hope that Season 4 was going to be the season where it ends off Friendship is Magic, but due to the high praise from the bowling community, they decided to continue on. Which I can really understand why Starlight Glimmer became a huge major thing in the premiere and finale of the season. Even though that I really didn't like of how it's executed, I still think that for what it is, it's... yeah, I don't know. I'm just mostly on the middle of the boat of the Starlight hate and like fanbase. And I really think that the Season 5 finale is just trying way too hard. It's just really difficult for me to watch the 5th season finale. But on the other hand, let's talk about the other episodes, which is involving the other characters going through some serious situations. We get to see Ratchet become an investigator so to prove that Rainbow Dash is actually a victim in this whole situation. And also the fact that we get to see the cutie mark Casados finally gain their cutie marks, which I didn't add in this, I'm really sorry. I really think that the next era of this friendship is the other characters, mainly the cutie mark Casados, gaining cutie marks and completely experiencing the new identities when it comes to friendship. And it's also the fact that Princess Twilight is handling new opportunities involving becoming a princess, like in the episode with Princess Spike, where she did all the work from day and night and decided to get some rest. Believe me, I really feel bad for Twilight, but at the same time, oh my god, I hope Princess Julius just always gets in the way no matter what. And I really think that seeing other episodes involving new characters really fit for this whole category to see what the other characters have when it comes to the new relationships with the other characters, like Fluttershy's relationship with Discord. Even though that did happen in the 3rd season, I think that this season is probably when they get much more of the development, especially when we get to know more about Discord. Even though the 7th season episode is way more better than the other episodes, in my opinion. As for Twilight's new goals when it comes to becoming a princess, I guess that at this point, I really didn't think of what she needs to do when it comes to becoming a princess. Since she has a castle and tries to get herself fit in, I think that for what they have for Princess Twilight is either becoming the next princess, which could be a thing in the Season 9 premiere, the end of the beginning, but at the same time, we don't even actually expect of what Princess Twilight's actual motives is when it comes to the 8th season, which is have a mixed bag, but I'll get to that later. Anyway, as for the 5th season of the new era, I really think that this new era is mostly mixed. I mean, there are stuff that I can really understand what it's trying to go, but at the same time, with the additions of Starlight Glimmer, I really just can't stand people not getting over redemption or stuff. I know Starlight Glimmer didn't need redemption, and she completely went off on her own when it comes to cutie marks, but jeez. A lot has changed, and I really need to do some kind of reviewing of my old reviews, but at the same time, people won't easily look at them like they used to because they were really old and they expected new things from me, which when it comes to reviewing material from Friendship is Magic. Anyway, that's all I have to say about the 5th season. It is a mixed bag, but at the same time, I can understand that this is the new era of Friendship. And as for the final 3 seasons, this is when things start to get really interesting. Season 6, Fixing Your Reputation. I know that Starlight Glimmer didn't have a reputation in the last season, but considering the fact that she's going to be in a new environment and living in Princess Twilight's house, you can tell that she's just trying her best to actually fit in of when it comes to friendship, especially the fact that she's completely having her own cue mark involving the situations involving friendship. This is probably one of the reasons why this season is mainly focusing on Starlight Glimmer, while the other characters, even though that they do have some kind of episodes of their own, they really didn't affect the season that much, which is probably explained that season 6 is probably the weakest out of the entire show. There was literally kind of a mixed bag when it comes to between the season 6 premiere and the season 6 finale. While the premiere completely introduces Floryard, I really got a feeling that for the majority of season 6, while there were some good episodes here and there, really didn't make much of an impact. Now let's get into the fact. Now there were some good episodes like the Spike episodes involving Ember and Thorax. It still wasn't enough to see what they can do for the other characters. Sure, we get to see some introducing characters like Floria, who will pretty much only premiere from the beginning and end of the season. But I really think that this season as a whole, I guess I forgot to place that in the 5th season stuff, I'm sorry. But my point is that season 6 is mainly a mystery of what I think about this season in general. For one, I really think that this is pretty much the best that this season has come up with. From the first season, from the first premiere and from the 6th premiere and the final premiere, and while a few good episodes, everything else is just really not much of a worthy time pleasure. Not because they really don't really fit in much, but for the majority of the show, it's usually learning some life lessons about, opinions, and the fact that they probably try to handle new ideas of what they can do with other characters. Like, when Pinky and Rarity went to a shop that is just trying to make it a 5-star business, but at the same time it's really difficult to handle it right. And, what they can handle for friendship when it comes to, playing a board game. I'm not sure if this is right, but I think there's kind of a board game in this episode involving Discord and Spike, and it's mainly there. It's kind of an interesting idea, but I think I did see this before. I just really got nothing else to say. I'm not saying that this season is a disappointment. I just think that it could have been much more better. I mean, with the focus of being this on Starlight Glimmer, since that she's just trying to learn her mistakes from the cutie marks that she completely ruined and completely manipulate so many ponies in her village. And the fact that in the finale that she is trying to guide her new friends in order to stop the Changeling Empire from taking over the world. It's kind of interesting to see new characters be in the spotlight, but at the same time it's kind of forced. Really forced. I did kind of enjoy the finale, but now, since that 2 seasons have passed, I really have a lot of mixed feelings about the finale of the show. Not that it's a bad thing, but at the same time, I think that they could have at least tried to do something really unique other than having other characters like Starlight Glimmer in order to save the world. And besides, I think that seeing the finale of this show, of this season, is really kind of good, but at the same time, it's really hard for me to think that this is actually way better than the other finales from this show. But that's just me, though. Fixing your redemption is mainly involving Starlight's role when it comes to friendship in this season. So I really think that this is probably one of the only ways that she wants to fix up the mistakes that she did. But at the same time, it's just doing new things that people usually don't expect from Starlight Glimmer when it comes to this season. Since this is all after she completely gave up on taking over her village in the final season. As for everything else, there are some good episodes like I mentioned, but then again, there's really not much to really fix this season. Anyway, sorry, I keep botching up. Anyway, there's only two more seasons left, and the next 2 seasons will fix this show so much. Season 8, I'm not sure if people agree with me on that, but Season 7, definitely. Season 7, History of the Original Equestria Heroes, or Pillars of Equestria, if you want to say that. This season was in 2017, which is the same year that the My Little Pony movie came out. And Hasbro really wanted to make this year of MLP's biggest year, since the premiere of the movie is going to be coming out in October. Now, the reason why I completely say that this is the history of the original Equestria heroes of the show is because we get to see the original main 6 who completely took care of everything, like Starstorm, Flash Magnus, just to name a few. Believe me, this season is mainly focusing on the original characters who became the original main 6 before the current main 6 became a thing. With that being said, there were stories being told about this category. Mainly Flash Magnus experiences with his teammates, his partnerships with trying to take down the evils and trying to save the world from getting so much destruction, if you see the Campfire Tales episode, and seeing what they can do in order to help the cure from getting sick to normal, which is kind of interesting to see what the other characters can experience when they see the original main 6. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some episodes like The Perfect Pair completely did some different things when it comes to episodes, which is understandable considering the fact that the 7th season is probably the most development that they did, just to celebrate My Little Pony in 2017. I still think that the pillars of the main 6, or Equestria, whatever you prefer, is probably the biggest showstopper of this entire season. I mean, when you literally look at the past of what they did before, you can tell that they did a lot of things in order to prevent Equestria from corruption. And seeing them completely hanging out with the current main 6 is a really great thing to see, since that it really shows that they completely accomplished so many serious situations, and they get to see the chance to meet the original main 6, especially Twilight Sparkle meeting Starstorm, who's mostly disappointed that she's upset that Starstorm doesn't forgive her for completely resurrecting them from the dead or something, or from a dimension, for what I know. But later on in this episode, he completely forgives her. I guess that pretty much shows that this entire journey of becoming to meet Twilight's idol really worked out so much, considering the fact that she did so many crazy things throughout this entire show. And while it is kind of interesting to see Starstorm continue to return in the 8th season and obviously 9th season, you can tell that they probably want to put a lot of development in the history behind Equestria. With this being the 7th season, which is going to be the 3rd and final season of the show, they want to show the history of Equestria and do the right things that they can do for the original main 6. And I think that this season really proves it. The season 7th finale really sums up of what they can do and what can do amazing things. And I really enjoy this so much because we get to see interactions with the current main 6 and the original main 6. One of the reasons why season 7 the finale is one of the biggest examples that Friendship is Magic's 2017 was one of the best years in this entire decade. While some people say that the My Little Pony movie was something that completely improved on Friendship is Magic's year, this came out after the movie, and it completely follows the excitement for so many fans to see what they can do in the show. While it is understandable that some of the episodes have some mixed bags, I still think that this season is probably the best that they did throughout the entire show. I did have some opinions back then, but just looking at these episodes, you can tell that they did a lot of great things. Mainly the fact that they're just trying their best in order to do right things by trying to save everyone from darkness. Believe me, Shadow Play is really dark when it comes to the two parents teaming up in order to stop the Shadow completely controlling everything in Equestria, or making things worse. Season 7 is basically the history of Equestria and then behind Starsora and his friends. Something that I really think that it really works when it comes to this situation, and it makes things way more better when you get to know them more and more and more. Granted, quantity really doesn't work, but when it comes to My Little Pony, when they put a lot of time and effort into these characters, they always put a lot of development. And I really enjoy to see the development of these characters, even though it's sadly not going to be much since the final season of My Little Pony is going to have less screen time of these characters and probably do something really interesting of what they're going to do in the 9th season. But then again, it's just an opinion that could be a fact, but at the same time, we don't know for sure. So, if you really think that this show has gotten way more improvements, then I think that this season really does. It's basically a way step forward over season 6. Now let's get into the final season that is still becoming recent in the layers of the My Little Pony franchise. Passing the torch to others. Now, this is the season that people really have a mixed bag when it comes to the School of Friendship, and, well, I can understand that people really didn't find this really interesting about the School of Friendship, but to me, it only follows Twilight's character and what she can do when it comes to becoming a princess. Since that she really doesn't have anything else to do in the final seasons of the show, she decides to throw a friendship school in order to show more people about friendships that she knows way better than, well, mostly Princess Celestia, since she has been gained so much experience throughout this entire show. While some people may have some disagreements about my opinions, I still think that this season we have some understandable reasons as to why Princess Twilight is just trying her best to show everyone about the reasons of friendship and to try to move on in order to save some great things. Which leads to probably the Student 6. Yeah, we got more characters, mainly a discount Changeling Fluttershy, and basically in another excitement, Princess Skystar 2.0. But at the same time, they're really not much of an issue because I think they're trying to have more characters being to the mix and having new characters to try to save Equestria from danger. With all the studies that they did, they probably wanted to put more focus on other characters so they can do the same thing with the other characters. This is kind of like the 3rd generation of the main 6 or something. And it's really exciting to see some characters get some kind of spotlight in this situation. Even though that Twilight doesn't get really much development anymore, considering the fact that she's running a school nowadays, you need to understand that she's doing way more important things and way more tougher situations when it comes to her life in Equestria. After the entire show, after so many seasons of her trying to do the right thing and completely trying her best to make everyone feel happy, this is literally the only idea that she had in mind. Show other characters about friendship so they can easily handle so many good things in the nearby future. while some people really dislike the school of friendship aspect and the detail that they try to do behind in this season, I still think it's a kind of a recommendation ideal to see of what they can do. For so many characters want to meet Twisparkle and become the next biggest fan or something in order to handle serious situations like this in the future. And what I mean by that is that they can handle new friendships, like seeing, the reasons of what's going on under the Tree of Harmony, which is going to return again in the ninth season, because I saw in the screenshots, and the fact that they need to overcome really tough obstacles in order to stay together. Otherwise, they won't be able to handle themselves if they don't stay together. And also gives them some inspiration of what her best friends are trying to do. Mainly Rarity and Rainbow-Dash trying to get themselves together in order to fix the situations involving them trying to get along in order to show some inspiration to those students. And another thing that I completely enjoy about this is to see some kind of interesting teaching skills when it comes to having new students completely improving themselves in order to become true friendship students. While it isn't a good idea to see this, while it is understandable to see that other people who isn't interested in this ideal, I still think that it's probably an understandable idea for what they're trying. I still think that it's really understandable because they really want to have other characters learn something about friendship other than having Twilight and the others handle them by themselves. Because as at this point, the Dear Princess Celestia gimmick has been died down and it's completely gone away forever. Well, we don't know for sure in season 9, but it could be a possibility. And as for this show, and as for this season in general, even though it isn't as great as season 7, I still think that it's still a continuing step forward over season 6. Since they're trying to give some more development into the other characters and trying to show the students the meaning of friendship more, other than, probably trying to easily see of what they can do by themselves. Because the more people you teach about friendship, the more you can learn and make Equestria a much more better place. That's what I think about season 8. It's passing the torch to others, mainly the young 6, so they can handle new obstacles and also learning new things, unlike other characters, mainly the bad guys have experienced. Mainly Cozy Clouds. I keep forgetting the names, I'm sorry. But anyways, even though that season 8 is something that people really can't agree with on, I still like it for what it is. Even though they didn't watch all the episodes from the show, most of the majority of this season revolves around the School of Friendship, and there could be some episodes involving the School of Friendship in the 9th season. But then again, we don't know that for sure. Anyway, that's basically all my themes for seasons 1 through 8. After being in this entire decade is finally coming to an end. I can understand people have mixed opinions about this, but you need to understand that good things must come to an end sooner or later. And this show has been going on for far too long. And seeing the show for almost 200 episodes, and soon to be way more after that, you can tell that they're probably going to do everything that they can to make this season the best out of all the seasons, even if it's not going to be a possibility. It will probably be a good expression and a good farewell for what they can do in later seasons, but at the same time, you need to expect what the theme of season 9 is going to be about. I might make a video about that after the season 9 finale, but at the same time, we really need to expect what the 9th season is going to be like. And that's the fact that they're going to do something really interesting. I really think that for this being the end of Friendship is Magic, it still isn't the end of My Little Pony. Even if people are afraid of what Generation 5 is going to be like, you need to expect the fact that they're going to do something really different in Generation 5. While Equestria Girls is still going to continue in some way, we still haven't seen the end of My Little Pony in general. And believe me, we still have 3 specials from this show which we saw from online, and one of them being Rainbow World Trip coming out in the summer. I really think that they're doing everything that they can to make this finale the best in years. Even though that's going to be a really difficult task to do, we need to expect what they're going to do in the show. We need to actually expect the fact that this show is going to come to an end and these characters are going to move on. Because at this point, there's really nothing else that these characters can do for continuing a normal life and friendship in Equestria. As much as I really miss the show when it's about to come to an end at the end of this year, there's always a new step coming, and that's the 5th generation. Keep this in mind that the 5th generation, while it's going to be way more different in the 4th generation, you need to respect the fact. Again, we don't know what 5th generation is going to be about, but keep this in mind, give it a chance, and you might find it interesting. Because Bronies completely found this interesting in the 1st or 2nd season of the show, and they really enjoy it. You really need to understand that the stuff that you see from Generation 4 and you enjoy it, do the same thing with Generation 5. Anyway, I'm Lonely Fanboy 4 here, and there's only 4 more episodes and 1 YouTube tribute to do, and then I review Equestria Girls Spring Breakdown in order to culminate My Little Pony Month number 3.